morning, Hope Church. It's so good to see you guys this morning. You guys happy to be here? Yeah? Good. Well, I've been gone for a couple weeks, so I'm glad to be back. We're going to start with a song called Tremble. So if you would, stand with us while we begin.
Good morning, Hope Church. How are you? What a way to start a morning, huh? You can have a seat. Can we please give it up for our praise and worship team? So glad to have you back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alyssa, and I'm the Life Groups Director here at Hope, and I'm so happy to see all of you. I'm so proud of you for being here. Because in this world that does have so much darkness, you are choosing to focus on the light that is Jesus. So thank you for being here. If you're joining us online, hi, we're so happy to have you. We have a host there for you, so please check in, say hi, tell us where you're viewing from so that they can greet you. And we are so happy to have you taking a few minutes out of your day to focus on Jesus. So, we're only going to be here for about an hour, and I don't want to take all of that up. So, I have a few things to talk to you about, and please excuse my notes because we have things going on. Anyone here a calendar person where you are looking at your calendar all the time? I can't see you, so whoop whoops, claps, whatever it is to tell me that you are also a calendar person. Thank you. Thank you. I am a multiple calendar person, and I make sure that my phone one is connected to the one on my kitchen, because if that doesn't happen, I won't be there. So sorry. So we're going to go in calendar order here, because that's the way my brain works. So the first event that we have this week is this Tuesday at 6:30. We are doing a prayer night here at the church. This is a time that you get to set aside the busyness, the calendar, that you get to set it aside and just focus on where it is that Jesus is calling you. Spend time talking with him. We are going to have a focus this prayer gathering on back to school because it is coming very quickly. So we're going to pray for those working in the school, pray for your children, pray for the schools themselves. If you have a prayer request, we do have a box in the back when you exit that you can write that on for us to be praying over. The second thing we have on the calendar on Friday, the 22nd at 7:30, do I have football people in the room? I was like, sorry, I don't know anything about the sport. But we have a fantasy football league, correct? Right? Is it a league? That is happening this Friday. I'm sorry, guys. I know nothing about this sport. The 22nd at 7:30. You do have to sign up to be part of that. They are accepting signups through Thursday. So if you're a football person and you have a friend who's a football person, they are welcome. So we have that going on. And last but not least, next Sunday, in our kids' room, we have our Move Up Sunday. So we have kids who are aging out of their current rooms and going to the next room, or my guys in my 1st through 5th room who are aging out of my room and leaving me. So we like to have a little send-off for them. So if you have a child that is going to be moving either into preschool or into 1st grade, we are going to have you sign up so that we can celebrate them. If you are not here, you can put that in the comments that you have a child moving up. If you are here, I do have a sign up at the check-in in the gym. That's it for me. Those are my 3 big announcements. I also want to mention, as I mentioned, prayer night, that our prayer night is not just like a, hey, one time a month we're going to pray together. Every single Sunday we have a team up here that we trust, that we love, that we care about, who love you and want to pray with you. So after service, if you feel you need some prayer, come on up and get it. We would love to do that with you. And if you want us to pray during the week, you can also send a prayer request to us via email. All right, on that note, I'm going to pray, and then we're going to continue on. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, I thank you for today. I thank you that we can take these few minutes to set aside our day. We can set aside our calendar, set aside our plans, set aside all of the noise and crazy that's going on in our mind just to focus on you. I'm thankful that you are worthy of being focused on. I thank you for loving us so much that you enjoy spending this time with us. I pray that as we're here, we are able to quiet our mind and quiet our hearts so that we can hear what it is that you have for us today. We love you and we praise you, and it's in the holy name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
All right, stand with us. We're going to sing a couple more songs. Thanks for singing with us. Go ahead and have a seat.
Good morning, everyone. You guys, everyone kept asking me if I was preaching today, and I was like, no, I am taking a break because today we are actually having a very special service. So if you are here for the first time, it is a little different, but I think you're going to find it's a good week to be here. We are going to hear in a few minutes from our team who went to the Dominican Republic. And yeah, let's clap for them. Actually, if you were on that team, there were 12 people who went. If you were on that team, would you just raise your hand, stand up, dance around, whatever you want to do? Again, I can't see you. Hello, awesome. Yes, if you did go and people want to talk to you afterwards and find out more, I hope that you will reach out to these people because I know they have some incredible stories to share. We are going to hear from a few of them in a second. So we're going to have a video first, but I just want to explain really quick. So the trip that we had people go through was through an organization called Bold Hope, and we've been partnering with them as part of our GLOW initiative here at Hope. Now, how many of you have heard of our GLOW branch at Hope? Maybe a few of you. So this stands for Global Local Outreach, and we are hoping actually to kind of make this more robust in the coming months and year, so stay tuned for ways that you can get involved. But this trip basically was part of our global outreach initiative as part of this team. And so one way that you can participate, and we'll talk more about some ways that you can get involved later, but every month if you want to give directly to our GLOW fund, you can do that on the giving page, and you can scroll down and click GLOW, and that money will go directly to our GLOW initiatives. We have 2 ongoing partners right now. We have Bold Hope, which is they work with the Dominican, with Haiti, with some other countries, and then we have another global partner, which is YFC Croatia. I don't know if you remember Ruben and Daniela and Irena have come up and talked about their work in Croatia, and so that's a really awesome partnership that we have as well. Anyway, we are also trying to do a lot more local opportunities for you guys here. So we have some, maybe the Giving Tree things you've seen. We've had the food bank donations, which I want to thank you guys so much for giving this summer to help the kids in our local community who need food for the summer. So thank you so much for giving. But I'm going to sit down now because what I really want to do is we focus today on our team that went to the Dominican and hear their stories. And after we watch their video, I'm actually going to get back up here and I'm going to introduce you to Katrina, who led this trip, and she's going to share a little bit about her story. So enough of me. Let's watch their video. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, I'm Andrea. Really, I learned so much I wasn't expecting to learn. I thought I was there to serve, but really, God opened up my heart and deepened my faith. On day 1, I really struggled. I felt so much sadness. I felt so much angst at the despair that I was witnessing, and the Bible studies that Katrina led for us the next day really led me to this understanding that I was there to experience whatever God had for me. And if day 1 was about really experiencing the situation, it allowed me to, on day 2, show up for the day that I led the Bible study class for the kids in a way that I was able to participate in their joy because I saw why we were there. We were there to teach about God. We were there to learn about God through them. We were there to bring and share our joy. What I learned is that the people there, they don't have enough. They need our help, but they also really know how to love God with so very little. So I learned so much about my faith. I learned about my life and to take nothing for granted. And I also learned that God has work for us here, and it is our job to serve in any capacity. And that's how it's changed my life.
There were so many times that God yanked at our hearts and reminded us that we are there for His purpose. And boy, did I need that reminder after the first day. And you're probably thinking, seriously, Kayla, get it together. But let me explain. When I'm at home with the kids, it feels like I do it all. The laundry, the dishes, breaking up fights, making meals. I am constantly needed, and I know my purpose every day. When I was first in the DR, God challenged me to just be present. I just needed to be there, and just because I wasn't running around like a chicken with my head cut off, didn't mean that I wasn't needed or I didn't have a purpose. He was just trying to tell me be still, just like in 1 Samuel 12:16. Now then, stand still and see the great thing the Lord is about to do before your eyes.
Hi, I'm Sean. What did God teach me? I'd say mostly in general, wherever you think you may be at one point, what you think your plan might be, ultimately, it may just be a stepping stone for God's bigger plan. And if you're willing to open your heart and open your mind and put your faith and trust in God and to believe that He has a bigger plan, you'll ultimately realize that you're exactly where you need to be at that very moment. When we went on a trip, I thought I was going there to hang gutters and build and use tools, and when we went there, I didn't touch any of that, and ultimately spent all my time teaching the kids and playing, and ultimately that's what I do in life, and that was what He had planned for me, and I realized that after, and it was just such a more impactful in my life. So I would say you might think you're on a path, and just open your mind and open your heart, and where it goes, let it happen.
Hi, I'm Chrissy. I went on this trip thinking I was going to offer something, my assistance, my help, and He really taught me to be patient and find His work in the most unimaginable places, people that I haven't met before, faces I hadn't seen. I saw love through through people that don't speak the same language. Love was translated in miraculous ways.
There was this one moment that stood out in a very remote Batay, and we were on the bus and we were called to come back off the bus so we could have a moment of connection and prayer with the pastor that was looking to connect with Bold Hope and to start working with the families there. And it was that same Tuesday that I felt alive, and I stood and I put my hand on the pastor, and the person from Bold Hope put their hand on mine and said, okay, you pray. And in that moment, it was just the most beautiful, most powerful thing I've ever experienced. I compare it to having my babies. Like I just felt like the words were just coming through me that were able to be said over this pastor and over her work and over the community and the families. And I can't tell you what I said. And we said amen, and everybody could feel the energy in the room. And I had never had the Holy Spirit work through me. I had never had that moment. And I don't even think I realized it was that moment until later on in the week, in a time of reflection. One of our new friends from Bold Hope said, Andrea, with all due respect, that wasn't you. To me, to have my heart opened up in that way, I'm forever changed by it. So that's how my life was completely impacted in that one Tuesday afternoon.
Using my limited Spanish while playing a version of Hot Potato, I asked Rosita if she would like to play. Daniel would be so proud of me because so many times I rely on him to be my translator. Yet I was able to communicate with her. Her face lit up and she grabbed my hand and we joined the circle of fun. Her laugh and smile will forever stick with me. This was a reminder of joy, of pure and simple joy.
What was the most impactful thing for you on this trip?
I would definitely say the level of camaraderie that the love in this trip brought. I knew one person going on this trip, and then to be able to spend a week together with 25 people that I've never met, and coming home, you're crying and loving these people like they're your brothers and sisters for your entire life. Bring the way that the faith and the love and God brought everybody together, which ultimately that's the plan on the larger scheme. It was just so touching in the heart to be able to come home and still reach out to what you would think is like a whole new family. And it just blows my mind of how crazy that can be and how God works in these mysterious ways to be able to bring complete strangers together to be brothers and sisters.
You have a water. Oh,
I do. Oh, thank you.
Does anyone need a water? You're good.
Hello.
So I don't know if I said my name earlier. I'm Carrie, for those who don't know me, and I am on the teaching team here at Hope, and I'm very excited to introduce you, who do not know, Katrina. Let's say hi to Katrina. Katrina, how long have you been at Hope Church?
Just about 2.5 years now.
Okay, all right. Awesome. So I have a few questions I'm going to ask Katrina, and she's just going to share as the leader of the missions trip, and is also someone who is a part of the GLOW team right now. So she's a little expert at everything here. So Katrina, actually, that was one thing we were talking about this week. How did you even begin working with the GLOW team?
So this was a really funny question when Carrie asked it, because my initial response was, how did I even actually get on the GLOW team? I don't know if you've ever been driving home and then you get into your driveway and you're like, how did I get here? What just happened? Did I stop at all the red lights? That's kind of how it was. And starting here at Hope, I was really blessed to be surrounded by friends and community who were also serving, and watching them step up. I was always hanging out here, and the question was, how can I help? And sometimes it led to, can you hit that light switch? Can you turn off that TV? Sometimes it led to conversations about how to serve in other ways. So I've stepped into quite a few roles here. I've dabbled a little bit of everywhere except for tech. Go you guys. I don't know how you guys do it. But one of these days I landed on the GLOW team, and I knew it was a place that I was called to serve, and it was really exciting, and it has just grown since.
Awesome. And then you are part of the GLOW team, where again we kind of plan different local, global opportunities for people to serve with. And then at some point you ended up leading this missions trip through Bold Hope. So tell me how you became the leader of that trip.
Yeah, so I would say that this started last September. I got to go on a missions trip abroad with another church that is more local to home. If you don't know, I live very far from here. And I had the opportunity to go to Japan and serve in this missions, and it was just life-changing. And soon after that, if you were with us about a year ago, Matt from Bold Hope came, and he was speaking about Bold Hope and the projects that they're working on, and that was when we first started talking about getting a team on the ground there. And after having experienced my first missions trip and hearing this opportunity, I knew it was the next step for us, so we ran with it and we went.
That's awesome. I know you talked about this a little bit already, and I know Sean, some others in the video talked about just that stepping out in obedience to God. in that process of joining Glow, of even saying yes to going on this trip, is there anything about obedience to God or stepping into your calling with God that maybe you could share with people from your own experience?
Yeah, I think it starts with little things. When I was growing up and I heard people talking about hearing a sign from God or a calling from God, I always thought it was going to be this big booming voice saying, Katrina, it's time that you do this. And he has the power to do that, but that's not how I've heard from him. And it started with just saying small yeses here and there. Like I said, just asking, can you help? Or being able to step into different roles and feeling this calling, right? It might be in the really little things. It might just be that you're called to text a friend or go visit your parents, or maybe not tailgate the person that just cut you off on the road. And when you start saying yes to those smaller moments that seem simple to you, you start to build in that character that God has planned for you. And that allows you to step into the bigger yeses that might seem scary at the start. Thanks, Roger.
Well, I do think that's beautiful, even as you were sharing with me this week, that I think a lot of times people get stuck in, I have to say yes to God in these big mountaintop moments, right? But from your story and from so many others, it's those little yeses, the incremental yeses, and then you suddenly look around, like you said, I love it. How did I get in my driveway? Like, how did I get to this place? But God has been building you in those little yeses all along.
Yeah, and I would add that there's times that we get these callings and we might feel like it's a better fit for someone else, or that you're not good enough, you're not ready. And those are the times where I just challenge you to say yes anyways. God has called you specifically for a reason. He hasn't made a mistake, and he's going to guide you through it.
I love that. Love that. Okay, so everyone in the videos got to share about their big takeaways from the trip, what they, learned or what was like meaningful for them. Was there something, maybe a couple things for you from this trip that just really stood out, that were meaningful?
Absolutely. I think that hearing everyone else's takeaways, it's so important to recognize those. And there were so many moments that we realized the faith and the happiness in what seems to us like so little. But also from the leader perspective, I got to take a step back and get a different view of things. So watching the team develop on the ground, that was a really cool experience. I got to see people who had just met each other. Some of the people on our team didn't meet until we were in the airport.
Okay.
And we met our other team from Pennsylvania that we were partnered with on the ground there. So we have this group of people, group of strangers, and as they got to start working together and start stepping out in faith together, I got to see someone pray out loud for the first time, someone who was nervous too, and it was funny because God answered it immediately in his perfect humor. I got to see different people stepping out and taking on projects that they didn't expect to be a part of, and just this way that we may have gone in with one expectation and God moved it and God worked through these people, and seeing their flexibility to just say yes. And I would say one of the other big moments, we had someone from our team that I got to baptize while we were there. If you guys know Olivia, catch her after.
That's huge.
It was a really cool experience. So just lots of ways that we were seeing God working through the team down there. And I would also say coming back, it has been just beautiful to watch that snowball into how people are walking in their faith here each and every day. I've heard of different people who are now stepping out in their ministry, or I had someone come up to me and say, we were at an event in Willimantic and we were praying with people in the middle of the street. Things that we experienced in the Dominican and then we brought home.
That's amazing. That's really incredible. And I love to hear your heart growing as a leader, because I do think that that's something too. As we step out and we follow God, then suddenly we look around and we realize, oh, I'm actually leading others, helping others find freedom, helping others find that faith to step out. And so then the joy for you gets to be, now I get to see fruit in other people's lives. And that's true for all of us too, right? Like you said, God's calling you out and God's going to call you to lead. He's going to call you to be bold and to influence others. So I love that you are embodying that with your life and the way you're living. Is there anything else from that you want to share from the trip that maybe wasn't included in the videos?
I would honestly say that there are so many beautiful moments that happened in this trip that if we were to really talk about it, we would be here all day long. And I would really encourage you guys, if you see someone who was on the team, ask them about their story and their experience. Each and every moment was such a blessing and an opportunity to grow and learn and change our faith. And there's so many stories that we could talk forever.
Yeah. I know for me, one thing, I've gone on mission trips in the past, but I think what Chrissy said it, that like this idea that love is translated from a different language, basically, and that, and like the way that you, obviously you're speaking different languages, but you're also like living the language of love in your actions. And it sounds like for you guys, even being among this community, that you all learned something so beautiful and valuable from them as well, which is really cool. Okay, so we're gonna shift a little bit into, I know that this trip, as wonderful as it was, did not happen without any obstacles, right? So what were some of the challenges that you or others maybe faced either leading up to the trip or when you got there?
Yeah, so like anything we do, it came with its trials and challenges, and some of them were really small. They were irritating, but small. And it was, this form isn't working, I can't submit this document. We had to submit a lot of forms to go on this trip. And little things like my boarding pass won't load, this won't work, that won't work. And those were, again, annoying but small. But then we faced some other challenges. We had a member of the team who was going through just one thing after the next, getting a document signed, getting a passport ready. Everything was just, it felt like it was against her. And it was beautiful to see that she persisted and God made the way. And even it was 1 to 2 days before we were boarding our plane that everything got checked out. And these were things that we'd been working on for months and months, and at the last minute, God made the way. So there was those kind of challenges. And then once we got on the ground, when we started the idea for this trip, we thought that we were going to be going there to build and do construction for the bathrooms we raised money for. If you guys were with us last December, we as a church raised $5,000 to donate to them to support building bathrooms in a community center. And we were like, yes, let's go build those. And that's not at all what ended up happening. God totally had a different plan. So we went with, some of us were ready to just build, and we ended up mostly conducting VBS lessons and doing community outreach, which is not quite what we were prepared for. And again, another really beautiful thing, I want to mention that for most of the people on our team, it was their first time on a missions trip.
Oh, wow.
For some of them, it was their first time leaving the country.
Okay.
So to release those expectations of what we were going to do and be flexible with with what God had planned for us, it was really beautiful to see that. But yeah, we had some trials going into it for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I love that what you just said relates to even what Kayla said about learning to just reorient, like what you said, to God's work and say, so sometimes God's work is just being present, really present with the people in front of me. And I thought that was a beautiful lesson that she shared as well. So I know we just finished this series on like vision beyond victim, and I feel like it relates a little bit to what you're saying. Sometimes we have these obstacles, these things that come against us. What would you say for people right now listening that maybe are going through obstacles in their life, and how maybe these lessons could help them persevere and walk with God in the midst of their own obstacles?
Yeah, I think that the obstacles sometimes can be fun. That might sound weird to think, but when we start facing challenges, I would say there was a time that I first recognized spiritual warfare for what it was, and I messaged my friend Alyssa. If you guys know Alyssa, she was just up here too. And she was like, well, of course, you're about to do something big for God, and Satan doesn't like that, so he's going to try to mess with you. And I think there's a level of discernment. God might be telling you no sometimes, but sometimes it's just the enemy trying to mess with your plans. And when you start to face those obstacles, it's an opportunity to grow closer with the Lord and see what his plan is for you and ask for his guidance and trust him and continue walking through those. And none of us always love character development, but it's an important part and it's a great opportunity for that. So seeing it more as an opportunity for growth rather than something that's happening to you and against you.
I love that. Yeah. Flipping from obstacle to adventure, that's a great perspective shift. You also shared, Katrina, when we were talking earlier, you brought up this idea, and I heard it a lot in the videos as well, that one of the meaningful parts of the trip was the community that you built not only with other people from Bold Hope, but also just from the team that went from Hope Church. And you mentioned this phrase, kingdom friendships, and how in our conversation, you talked about how those kinds of friendships can also be like as very valuable and essential when you are trying to overcome these obstacles. So I don't want to like overshare, but is there anything you would talk about in the way that friendships might, those kind of kingdom friendships might help in obstacles?
Yeah, so when I say kingdom friendships, I mean this, our church body, our church community, being in fellowship with other believers, it is such a big impact. I think that you can have good friends who are going to help you and be there for you, but when you have people who are praying over you and praying with you and walking in Christ with you, it just brings this different level to what you're doing and helps you stay focused on God's plan for you instead of what's happening in the world. We can get really stuck on those earthly things, and having those kingdom friendships helps pull us out of it and really focus on what is good and true.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we're going to kind of go with that flow of community and calling other people out to mission also in the way that we live out our lives and the way we have our relationships. What would you say to people right now who maybe feel nudged to, maybe even after listening to stories today, feel nudged to be part of another missions trip or child sponsorship or other like local global giving opportunities? What would you say to them?
I would say step one is to pray about it and check in where your heart is with it. If it's something that you're feeling called to, come chat with us. We would love to walk alongside you as you step into whatever God's calling is for you. We have opportunities both here and in the future abroad again where we're going to be able to serve. And if that's you, come hang out with us. We'll have a good time.
Absolutely. Now, you used the phrase with me the other day also, which I loved, that sometimes, again, we look at sort of like these major missions trips and we think, okay, that's something that I don't know if I could ever do that. I'm in a situation right now where maybe I can't go to the Dominican, I can't go on this trip. And then we can almost like, I know for myself, I can almost make an excuse and sort of sideline myself and be like, well, there's nothing I can do. But you brought up the idea, not only in our conversation today, but also earlier, that a lot of times we can have a mission anywhere. We can serve anywhere. And you brought up the idea of like being on mission at home. So what does that mean to you? And what does that phrase, how might that phrase help people who are like kind of unsure where to start?
Yeah, so being on mission, a lot of people think it means getting on a plane, going abroad, and changing the world through some sort of trip. And those are all really great. As you've seen, our experience has been absolutely wonderful. But the mission also exists each and every day at home. In every single moment, we have the opportunity to be on mission and follow our calling and serve God. So it's not only abroad, right? We have missions right here within the church, right? We have opportunity to serve. If you were blessed by someone opening the door for you this morning with a smile, or trusting someone with your kids, or someone giving you a cup of coffee, right? That's our mission field too. And even outside of that, in our day-to-day living, as I was saying before, if you're called to text someone, visit someone, give grace to someone that you might not want to, every single moment really is a mission. So even as you're sitting here right now, look to your neighbors, see if they need anything, check in on them, offer a hug or a smile. There's always an opportunity to bring the mission home.
I love that. Thank you so much. I was just talking with someone this week, and I think even the idea that just bringing someone a meal, just showing up for someone, checking in, recognizing, okay, we're like family, so let's treat each other like family. And I think when we start to do that in little ways, it is so much more impactful than we realize. And I think that's even how the wider world around us recognizes that we're Christians, that we are different because we love one another radically, and that means tangibly acting for people. So I just love that you brought that to a place where it's accessible for anyone here, right? You can go today and you can immediately start to ask, how can I serve? Who can I serve? Who can I love? Mm-hmm. So is there anything else before we wrap up here that you would like to share with everyone?
Is there something I was supposed to share with everyone?
Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, was that, I gave you the wrong face. My poor husband, he's like, you have like 29 faces and I can't figure out any of them.
She looked like I was supposed to have a really exciting announcement, and I don't have one.
Oh, no, that was just me being awkward.
No, I just think I think I've said this already, but again, just if you see someone from the trip in the lobby after service, if you're hanging out, feel free to go ask them questions. We all just had such a wonderful experience, and I think it was this opportunity to see God's light and how he's working, not just in our church, but around the world. And that reminder that he really is working around the world at all times. I think sometimes we think about the fact that he's with us and he might be here, but getting to see the work that he does all over the place is just so beautiful, and the opportunity to bring that home, can't beat it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Katrina. Let's give Katrina a round of applause here. Not just for sharing either, but honestly just for the way that you live your life, because I think that your life speaks volumes, and it's incredible to watch you grow and then lead and live such a beautiful life and a story that you are boldly letting God write through you. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So I know we aren't going into crazy detail here, but I will give you this teaser. Matt from Bold Hope is coming in a couple months. Is it November? Okay, so we are going to have him speaking directly to you, and he's going to be sharing a little bit when he comes about another way that you can support, even from locally, where we can offer something called child sponsorship. And I won't get into that all now, but just stay tuned, because that's another really cool way that you can support someone in an ongoing way and really continue to invest in this community long term. And I know we also are going to be trying to continue to put out different opportunities here locally and ways that you can get involved, so stay tuned for that. But we just want to end out the time today with a song, actually. So we're going to have the worship team come back up. But as we do, I would just invite you, again, worship God and be in that moment. But also, as Katrina said, just sit in that place with God where you are allowing God to, where you're surrendering and saying, God, where am I right now? What are you calling me into? In fact, next week we're going to be doing kind of just a simple message on looking at the rhythms of our lives and what is God doing in this season, whether it's in our lives, in our family, in the season of the church, and how can we be intentional and active in our yes to God and in the little ways that we are going to organize our lives around God intentionally. So I would just encourage you, as we sit in this worship time, to let God speak to you, to let him show you where he wants you to love and serve other people. And then just worship him and thank him for the God that he is, that brings all things together and makes these incredible things happen even when they're not what we thought would happen. So we're going to pray, and then we'll have the worship team here. God, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for who you are, that you are a God who can do amazing wonders, and you can show up in tiny little details that we never thought you'd be in. God, I thank you that you drew Katrina and all these people that went to the Dominican Republic, and that you brought them. Maybe they didn't even think they were going to go there, God, but I thank you that you brought them for your plans and your purposes. I thank you for the work that you did through them. And God, I thank you for the work that you did in them through other people and while they were there and in the process. God, I pray right now that you would continue to complete the work that you've begun in the Dominican and complete the work you've done in all these people's lives. And as Katrina shared, God, that just the domino effect, the ripple effect of your spirit would continue to move in all these people, God, and through our church. I pray also right now, God, for people here listening, people listening online. God, please stir in our hearts a deep love that is something we cannot muster or create in and of ourselves, but something that you produce in and through us, God. Let us go and love radically. Let us love and let you handle the translating of the love. And God, I just pray that you would bring so much light into the darkness through your people, God. Amen. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Katrina. That was awesome. All right, we're going to end on a big note. So I need you guys to stand. It's a little low energy today, so I need some clapping for this one too. All right? All right, guys, let's do it. This one's called Uncontainable Love.